Welcome to RPGamer's Adventure Corner of Times and Galaxy. In this edition of the column, we take a look at the sci-fi point-and-click visual novel Times and Galaxy on the PC. Writing isn't easy, whether it's crafting a story that engages readers, having an article fit within the guidelines, or making sure that multitudes of grammar lessons sink home. There's a lot that goes into any work with words. Time and Galaxy by Copy Chase Games aims to capture what being a journalist is like without any of the stress that goes into actual writing. It focuses instead on the joy of creating a story and the camaraderie between the staff. It's a lovely sci-fi romp that depicts a writing staff that bands together to help one another despite their friendly rivalries, which makes for a cozy little workplace story. Times and Galaxy is an intergalactic newspaper that reports on all things happening in the known universe. There are typical arts, sports, politics, law, crime, business, and special interest columns already established and being printed. This makes things difficult for the new intern ReporterBot to find their niche at the most trusted news source in the galaxy. ReporterBot has 17 cycles to prove they belong as a member of the writing staff. Cycles are vague measurements of time that cover the creation of one news story. Each cycle begins aboard the spaceship scanner, which takes the journalists to their assignments. The transit time allows ReporterBot to bond with other staff and crew aboard before getting their assignment from the editor and heading out. Most stories aren't glamorous, but the comedy, character design, and sensation of being a journalist makes the game feel like something special. The characters and races readily steal the spotlight in Times and Galaxy. In this universe, humans have already passed first contact with the alien races and everything is peaceful. The most shocking thing happening in the judicial system is a case of a protester using telepathy to push their political agenda too hard, causing innocent bystanders to drop their lunches in shock. It is possible that ReporterBot is just sheltered from the worst of it, but Times and Galaxies is an all-ages newspaper that covers minimal violent conflict. There are still differences of opinions and some assignments get into political and school curricula. However, things are kept relatively tame. Alien races have fascinating designs and backstories. The Zeal are basically sentient lava lamps that run on electricity and inhabit mechanical bodies that move around. The Verge are lizard-like creatures with horns whose names include interesting job-specific titles, such as a lawyer known as the Cross-Examining One. The Augur are buff four-armed bipedal rhinos with hard exteriors and soft interiors. Coexisting with these alien races are humorous sentient robots and humans with a whole host of foibles that are easy to relate to and laugh with. Each character design stands out wonderfully against striking backgrounds, always making it easy to figure out who to speak with next. ReporterBot is given ample time to connect with and learn from their colleagues on the scanner. Every cycle, there's a new piece of information added to these characters that weaves together members of the staff into sort of a dysfunctional family. There's also a dry wit with each of the personalities that makes them heartwarming. They all connect to one another through the art of storytelling, whether via shared subject, style, or presentation. There's a heartwarming smile or story behind every relationship that ReporterBot builds, which can lead on romancing practically anyone on board should they choose to do so, though these events are brief and feel tacked on. It is easy to get lost in the ever-evolving cast as more characters are introduced and their stories told. Each character feels integral to the scanner, despite their stories mostly being told through conversations with ReporterBot. Intern life just isn't spent aboard the scanner. The actual process of reporting consists of a series of questions that ReporterBot asks of those at the scene, which provides key information that builds a story. Some witnesses are harder to get to open up than others, though each one adds something new to the story. ReporterBot has one chance to gather as much information as they can from statements, searching the surroundings, and a recap of the events. It is impossible to get every potential piece of information, but through careful investigation, enough details can be gathered to offer more than one way to report the story. A story will always have 5 components to it: a headline, a lead, or an opening summary, nut graph, the crux of the story, key quote, and color, which is fleshing out the story. And these will be chosen from what's been obtained. The final story presented doesn't always have to make sense. Every bit of information ReporterBot gets unlocks a new component to the story. Every unlocked component will have 2 scores and 1 reporting type assigned to it. The scores affect reputation and readership, while the reporting type boils down to the informational, alien interest, or sensational. The editorial staff of the Times and Galaxy would prefer things to be informational, but that doesn't always get readership, so it becomes a balance between gaining reputation and readership for the paper. Deciding what aspects of the paper to promote and attempts to be the best reporter around can be fun. To attempt for certain endings, or just to see what happens, players can choose to report poorly, but generally this should be reserved for subsequent playthroughs, not the first. The lack of real difficulty in getting great scoops isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it does plant Times and Galaxy firmly in a getting lost in your journey form of storytelling. With a lack of difficulty or stakes, the enjoyment of Times and Galaxy comes from the connecting with the crew and the stories of this oddball sci-fi adventure. There are a few different ways to bond with each crew member, as well as various stories to be shipped out to. It is impossible to cover everything in a single playthrough, making the game replayable just to see the different stories or how the characters progress under a different set of choices. There are some aspects of Times and Galaxy that will resonate specifically with those who write in a team. Working at RPGamer can, at times, feel like a newspaper office in the best of ways. There's moments of levity, frustrations over disagreements, and always a shared passion over RPGs. Like the cast and crew of the scanner, there are a lot of colorful characters. That's an aspect of the game that hits perfectly. How easy it is for everyone to be in their own little worlds, but have a connecting passion over a shared interest. It's a good reminder of the integrity and passion that everyone working in the profession can have for the business of sharing stories. What Times and Galaxy gets visually and verbally so correct is sadly matched with how poor the audio component feels. The music falls flat, and there's no real sound to make things feel connected, though one could perhaps argue that this emphasizes the importance of what can be shown and experienced through the written word. An exception is the intro theme song, which is a catchy tune that captures the essence of things perfectly, whimsy with a side of camaraderie. Times and Galaxy is a delightful time for those with a penchant for reporting. It is an ode to the newspaper, telling a story through a specific word count to meet a deadline. Beyond that, there are only heartwarming moments with adorably entertaining aliens and amusing fluff pieces, but no real stakes. There is a whole lot of heart as banding together and talking about news, big or small, has passion in it. There are enough comedy and fun characters to pull the story along, but getting lost with the cast of characters is the true gem here. This article is based on a free copy of the game provided by the publisher. For more details, hit up the link in the description below. For more video content, subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitch for daily streams of your favorite RPGs. Join in the discussion at rpgamer.com/discord. And for the latest in RPG news, head over to rpgamer.com.